The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Ajaero, has called for better pay, insurance cover and pension for journalists across the country. He made the call when he visited the president of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Dr. Chris Isiguzo, in Abuja. He explained that while journalists play significant roles in the fight for independence and the current democracy Nigerians are enjoying, it is unfortunate some people are begging for their salaries to be paid. Now, journalists, in his words, do not have weekends, don't have public holidays or festive seasons. They work and report the activities of people who are enjoying weekends, public holidays and festivities. Even when a journalist is sacked or not paid for 1 year, other journalists will not write a story on such injustice. Now, he added, I am advocating for a consultative machinery that we should hold every 2 years to have a negotiation with all media employers in the country to fix a particular minimum wage for journalists. Also, there should be a pension that all journalists should enjoy after retiring from the job. Insurance cover is another thing that journalists should enjoy to make them work better. Yes, Victor, what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, I mean, the call is a good call. Of course, every worker, not just journalists now, but everybody that he who works, is worthy of, pay and wages. So if, I mean, considering the job, the nature of the job of the journalists, I think they should be paid, they should be duly paid. But one thing I want to identify here is that you understand that majority of journalists are in the private sector, in the private public sector, and not with the government. So I think that call should go to the private sector to ensure that the journalists under them, both them and government, should have better welfare packages to ensure that they do their job more effectively. Because I mean, whether you like it or not, the broadcast industry, the journalists are a very integral part of every democracy. They're a very important part of democracy because they are the ones who carry the information from the courts, from the government to the people. And if they are not effective in their job, it also affects, the society, because the dissemination of information or right dissemination of information helps the society to, also assess government in their activities and what they're doing. So I think the call on government aspect should provide an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. I mean, if businesses, private businesses like your radio and TV stations are doing well, I think they would ensure that the payment, of staffs are well. So I think the role of government. Yeah, the role of government is to ensure an enabling environment for productivity. While the role of most, because I say most because most of the people in the industry, journalists, are in the private sector, and it is what I run as a business, my profit that I'll use to pay you. I would not pay you more than I'm getting,
So that means the minimum wage, fixing the minimum wage.
It will be difficult.
It'll be difficult?
It will be difficult. It will be difficult because we're in a society where there's high instability, the inflation rate fluctuates, here and there. So it will be difficult to fix because you can't fix for me when you cannot determine or at least assure that there will be some level of stability. So it will be difficult to fix a minimum wage for the private sector, but it is not impossible. If we're being realistic and we can, coming together as an industry, I think that can be done. But in all, I think every worker, every journalist deserves good welfare, because sometimes the job is hazardous. I mean, the interfacing with the public sometimes can be a very hazardous job, getting truths from people and all of that. So, and that is one of the things. Information is a key factor of every democracy. So, the journalists themselves need to be taken care of. The welfare of the journalists should be considered. I'm sure you agree with what I'm saying, because it's going to favor you if you...
You're also a journalist, aren't you?
Well,
you know, while I was smiling when you were talking, I remember the particular trending picture. I think you must have seen it. Of it was like two sides of the picture, right? And then on one part they wrote the presenter when you hear his voice, and one clean looking guy, and then they wrote the presenter when you finally meet him. It was a very funny. Each time I remember that picture, I just started laughing. But you talked about getting the private, the owners of these private media institutions involved. You know, they also talked about, they mentioned a biennial meeting or conference that will be held and that they are proposing, and that they will have that meeting with the owners of these media houses. So that meeting will be held with the owners, and that's where he said they should also think of a minimum wage, even though some people are wondering why this is coming from NLC.
Well, it is NLC. It is part of labor. Whether the private sector is also, you know...
Some people were expecting this from probably NUJ and the rest, although even this conversation was done with that.
Well, the NLC, yes. I think the NUJ, I believe, is also part of the NLC.
Some people were actually expecting that from the NUJ instead of it coming from the NLC. But, Victor, we appreciate your contributions on the show today, even though that picture is still in my face. But thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure is mine.